Hello, hello, and welcome. Good morning. It is Maggie Rose Cunningham here with you, and we are intention setting. So, Rio to you. We are going to be harnessing the energy of the new moon today. So, it is the new moon on the 11th. So, we've got a few days to go. So, this is the perfect time to be feeling into that new moon energy, doing any release work that you need to do, and starting to set those intentions for the lunar cycle ahead. So apologies to those of you who are joining me live. Facebook decided that I needed to do lots of logins and submitting codes and things like that. Maybe it's a new year and they just wanted to check who I was before I went live. But we are here now. So I've got a couple of questions for you before we get going. We've got a jam-packed session today, which I'm very excited about. We're going to be working for the coming lunar cycle with the goddess Freya, and she is going to be supporting us in feeling into and enhancing and working with the magician self. I'm going to be doing a lot more work on that. There's going to be lots of resources and activities for you to do to really feel into the magician self and to get to know Freya better. For today, I'm thinking about intention setting. I'm going to invite you to do that from your magician selves. And magician part of us is the part that gets things done, the part that goes out there, that receives the knowing of the sage and the seer and the mystic and the healer, and goes out and creates the change in the world. So normally I sort of veer away a little bit when I'm asking people about intention setting from saying, let's focus purely on achievement. What is it that you want to achieve through the course of the month? But if you're going to be focusing on that, then the magician self is the part of the self to work with. So I'm going to invite you to think on a question and to meditate on this question over the coming few days. The question being, what do you want to bring forth this month? So this isn't necessarily achieve. This is, what do you want to bring forth this month? What would you like to birth into the world? What would you like to offer to the world? What would you like to offer to yourself through the course of this coming month? So what do you want to bring forth through this month? And then the second question, once you've done a little bit of have a bit of journal time, you just sort of write down your list, maybe look at your diary, see what commitments have you got in your diary, what do you need to um achieve. We're on the magician self after all through the course of the month. And then the second question to ask is, what energy do you want to experience while you're doing it? What energy do you want to experience while you are doing it? And the reason that this is important is because, generally speaking, in our society, we use a lot of push energy, busy energy, deadline energy, anxiety, stress building energy. And that's, because we've all got a lot to do. There's no getting around that. But through asking the question, what energy do I want to experience while I'm doing that, we focus our intention on something other than oh my Lord, there's so much coming up. To look at, what energy do I want to experience? So it might be a state like joy, excitement, ooh, all of those, lovely, like surprise. I'd like to have some exploration or learning. It could be any of those things, could be a state, or it could be that you want to experience what it is to be supported through that time, what it is to have a rhythm through that time. So it doesn't feel like the sort of speed and the fast and the go, go, go energy. It feels more like this supported, the energy of support coming through, whatever it is that might feel like for you. What would you like the external universe to provide for you while you are bringing forth the things that you feel in your heart that you would like to bring forth through the course of the month? Now, this is the perfect time to then draw your rune of the day. I'm going to give you a moment to just think on them. Maybe, if you've got your diary to hand or you want to do a bit of that, or immediately, like, oh, I already know what energy I want to bring forth, then take a moment, write that down. I'm just going to check because I cannot see the comments, and it'll be nice to be able to see the comments, because it's always nice to see if there are people there in the group. So bear with me one moment. I'm just turning my head because the comments are on a different screen. Well, they should be on a different screen. It's arriving on a different screen. So bear with me one moment while I look and I see if I can find you on there because it's the same as it. It's not the same for those of you who come live if I can't see what it is that you are saying and sharing with me today. Lovely. So I can see everybody there. Hi, Suzanne, love and blessings to you too. Lovely to see you. You're working with Elwaz as your main focus rune and Ingus as your shadow runes. That's lovely. So Suzanne, obviously you've been doing your rune work for a long time. So you've already got one rune that you're working with and a partner rune is your shadow rune as well. I'm going to be sharing in a moment 3 different ways that you can select a rune to work with through the course of your lunar month, or maybe a couple. It doesn't have to be just one, as Suzanne's just demonstrated. And you've said, I did all my lunar month runes yesterday as a yearly spread. I'm sorry, not yesterday, but you did them as a yearly spread, so you've got them all going already, which is wonderful. Meggie, you've been receiving Suelo on top of Issa as a bind rune, so you've been working with those as your energies. How lovely. And Erica says, I drew all my monthly runes for whole year. As part of your Sacred Nights Oracle. So you've both done that as well. Isn't that lovely? And that's a really nice way of working, isn't it, to do that as well? Suki says you're working with radar. So before you get into for those of you who don't work with the runes yet, everyone is like preempting here, their rune that they're working with. Start with your intention. Start with what do you want to bring in. You can change that and you can adapt that. If we're looking at the magician self, then this is about what do I need to bring into the world? What's my mission, my purpose? And then you can draw in those the runes that are going to support you and work with you. So, and we are going to be doing the stay and play session at the end. So whoever shared your runes, just remember your rune, and then I'm going to ask you to share them later so you can share them for our little oracle work. Hi Trish, lovely to see you. I'm not going to read out any more of the runes being shared at the moment because I'm going to ask you for your runes later. But hello, lovely to see all of you there. Okay, so what do you want to bring forth through the course of the month? Okay. Then I'm going to be sharing with you 3 ways in which you can choose a rune to work with for the month. Now, if you're an absolute beginner, it's often very helpful to work with a rune of the day. And you can do both. You can say, right, I've got my lunar rune that I'm working with through the course of a whole month. And I'm creating that deep relationship. But if you're just starting to work with the runes, then it can be great to do a rune of the day as well. Just say, who wants to partner with me today? So you can choose a rune based on your personal intentions. You can set your intentions and you can say, okay, which rune will partner with me and support me in my intentions? And you could also ask that question around which rune will support me in bringing in that energy that I want to experience through the course of them. Then you take your rune bag. My advice is always to, I blow on my rune set first. And I do that to clear the energy of any previous rune readings that have been done and to make sure that that there's no energy that has been taken through the room, the environment that the runes have been in since the time that I did my last reading and now. So then I focus for a moment, I think about that intention, what it is that I want to bring forth, what's the energy that I want to experience through the course of the month. Which rune is going to partner with me? It's going to empower me through this time. And then you draw your rune. So I'm a kinesthetic reader, so I do that based on like a little tingling sensation in my fingers to the rune that needs to work with me. Thurisaz there, the rune of the thorns. I'm going to be a bit feisty. There's going to be some boundary setting going on here for me in the coming month ahead. So I'm going to put my Thurisaz rune to the side so that I can work with that rune and do some meditation and some work with that later. You can work that way. Now, if you do not have a rune set and you're in the heart space, I've just shared about an hour ago, I shared the rune generator, the Megan Rose rune generator. So you can go to that page and you can click on one of the runes and that will be your oracle for the month ahead. So that's way 1. You can select a rune to work with. You can go to the Megan Rose website. You can go to the Explore the Runes web pages there and you can read all about your runes, do the meditation there and start to work with your runes. Now, way 2 is to, as some people have done here, they may have drawn a rune or they may also have worked on their intentions. So they might have said, okay, so my intention for this month, and this is the way that the magician would probably work if they're like pure magician, full on magician. I need to be really creative this month. I've got lots of outputs that I want to bring through. I want to be writing or I want to be shaping and crafting. This is an example. Then you could say, okay, so I'm going to work with Kinaz, because Kinaz is the rune of creativity and the torch and enlightenment. So you can work purely based on, I already know what my intentions are. and then you can go and choose the rune that supports those intentions. I'm going to be traveling, you know, traveling for the whole month. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to choose radar. Or I want to bring in really great relationships, fabulous connection with others. I'm going to choose otherwise. So you can absolutely do that that way as well. The other way that you can do this is through working with runes that are present because of the planetary movements at this time. So this is the way that we operate through Awaken to the runes, is that we work with the rune that the sun is in, because it's in each rune for about 2 weeks. And the sun is obviously big. It's very big, and it amplifies the energy of the specific rune. It doesn't have in the same way that Odin's chariot and Mercury, as a, like creator, destroyer, communication, voicing, all of those things. He has a gender is maybe too strong a word, but he has a sphere, a domain. So if you want to work within that domain, then you might work with the rune that is in Odin's chariot at the current time. But you can also work with Sunna's chariot, or you can simply say, actually, I can just feel as Maggie's talking through the planetary movements for the coming month, which I am about to do shortly. This is the rune that feels right to me. So that's playing a little bit on maybe your mystic or your healer a little bit more. You're using some of your own instinct. You're not just sort of saying, okay, I'm going to select from the rune bag, but you're allowing the runes to call to you in a different way as I take you through the planetary movements. Now, as well as Facebook throwing me out, there was another reason I was a little bit late, which is that I wanted to share with you a very exciting new part of the Megan Rose offer at this point. Really going to help with the planetary movements. So bear with me one moment, and let's hope that this all works as I am hoping. If I can even get the mouse, there we go. So many of you, I can see hello to those of you who are here live. If you are here live are already subscribers to Sunna's Starwheel. And Sunna's Starwheel is my runic astrology package for people who are like, yes, I'd like to work with the runes through the wheel of the year and get to know them that way. And I might like to know a little bit about astrology at the same time. And that's been in operation. That's been going for, I want to say, 3 years now. And it includes meditations, journaling meditations where you get prompts to journal on, so you can feel into the energy of each of these phases of the moon. And the new moon and the full moon are done with the runes of that time. You get your mini oracles for each of the planetary movements coming through the course of the month. And you get a video from me which goes into much more depth about the planetary movements that I'm going to tell you about right now. And in my heart of hearts, I've been wanting for a long period of time to have a hard copy version to go alongside all of the lovely online resources that we've got. And that hard copy is being born as we speak. I'm very excited about. Let me see where this has gone. I want a portion of the screen. See if this is going to work. Bear with me. That's not what you want, is it? You don't want to see me talking on Facebook. Bear with me one moment, caller, and let's come back to one moment. Stop the share. This is the fun bit, isn't it? When you want to do something cunning with technology and it doesn't want to follow you to do it as well. Does that sound fun? Does a hard copy sound fun? I'd like to know from people that the hard copy sounds fun. Oh, it's loading back up again. Of course it's loading back up again. It's one of these days, isn't it, when it's going to be loading back up. And I wanted to show it to you, and we didn't. The hard copy is on its way to me as we speak. But I wasn't able to come and flip it to you at the moment. But Lexi, as you know, is our magician in the background doing things, has created a flip book for me to share with you. It works. So one moment, and let's see if we can get it to work again. Because it was working fine when I did the there we go. I want somebody to give me a shout. Give me a shout in the comments if you can, to say, yes, Maggie, we can hear a beautiful flip book. So this is part of the new Sunna Starwheel journal. It's a 3-month journal, and it starts off as you would expect a journal to do. And then it's got your Elder Futhak, all your runes. It's got the half months of the sun coming up for 2024. And it's got the chariot of the moon. Tell you all about the chariot of the moon and all the new and full moons of 2024. They're all in there. And you've got a little guide for all of the planets, taking you through what they mean. I know. All of the gods. And then you've got your overview. So at the beginning of every lunar cycle, you've got your little overview, and it tells you where which planet each rune is in. Is that the right way around? Other way around. Which planet is in which rune. At the beginning of the month, there's a little diagram, there's space for you to put your rune of the month in there. And then we start the cycle. It's got the overview of all the planetary movements, which I'm going to take you through momentarily. And journaling space, then you can see you've got your journaling space, the new moon. So you can buy this hard copy and just say, yeah, I really would love to start working with the lunar cycle and with the runes at the moment. So we're going to have it so that you can just purchase the hard copy journal to get a little bit of a taster. If you are a member of the subscription, of the Sunna Starwheel subscription, we are going to send the first journal to you as a gift. I know. And I know lots of you already have your Sunna Starwheel subscription. Lovely to see it. Like it says, yes, you can see it. Thank you. Hooray. So when over the next couple of days, if you've already got your Sooner Style subscription, we are going to be getting in contact with you and saying, you give us your address. You know, in fact, no, I think it's even more cunning than that. Lexi knows. She knows how to do it. It's going to be literally like, this is how you get it. This is how you claim your gift from us. And then we will send this to you and you'll get your hard copy and you'll have that for your new moon journaling, which you can use standalone. But if you've got your subscriber version, then obviously you get your lovely audio meditation from me at the beginning of the cycle, and you can use this to do that. And it takes you through your new moon journaling. It gives you a little space for rune of the day. If you're like somebody who wants to do your rune of the day, you can record them and any notes that you've got there. And then it takes you through the planetary movements for all of the month. And that happens 3 month cycle, which I am unbelievably excited about. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be offering this to you now. Jason says, greetings. Greetings, Jason. Suzanne says, yay! I know, it's very exciting. So what this means is that when you've got your journal, so you can look through and you can see, okay, where are we in terms of the planets? And you'll also get your recorded monthly oracle from me or video from me if you're a subscriber as well. So you can have your journal and I'll take you through how all of that's going to be working. Okay. Now, the journal is a 3 month journal. So when you get it, it will take you through the next 3 cycles. I know. And I've got to stop being excited now because otherwise I'm going to be totally out of my body. I'm not grounded at all. So there we go. So you can get your journal. It should be, we're going to be letting you know how you can buy it if you're new to Sunna Star and you think, oh, I'd like to buy the journal and see what it's like. You can absolutely do that. And obviously, if you want to go the full subscription, then you get your journal, the first journal as part of that subscription package as well. And then you can choose your rune based on the planetary movement. So let me give you a little bit of a feel of how that's going to work. Okay. So our planetary movements coming ahead for this month. We've got a new moon in Iwaz. So on the 11th, we have a new moon in Iwaz. There was sort of support energy. It's one of the reasons why I asked that question around what is it that you want to experience? What's the energy you want to experience this month? Because we have a new moon in Iwaz and then a full moon in Uruz. They aren't necessarily strong magician runes. No, they're very grounded, very rooted, very earthy. And so it's that sense of what support does the magician need? And a lot of magicians struggle because they don't, because they're not grounded, they're not calling on that support, they call on their own energy, similar to healers, they can do that as well. And so I as an Urus say, do not call on your own energy to get everything done for yourself. You are a magical human being, you know how to do this. No, so drawing forth the energy. So the moon is calling us into that. Sunna's chariot is going to be moving from Perthrow, where it is at the moment, all the way through into Algis. So it's transitioning from Perthrow into Algis through the course of this month. And you'll notice almost all of the planets at the moment, I'm not covering the big 3 today, but the majority of the planets are in the second int. No? And Hellas chariot is in the second date as well. So this is the age of shaping, challenging, and testing. Lovely. Yeah, we love that. And we love a bit of shaping and challenging and testing. So I like flowing with the energy and knowing what's coming and knowing, okay, and I'm quite glad that I got Theresa as my rune. I was like, I need a bit of oomphy energy so that I can work with the energy of challenge that's through at this time. And at this time of year in the northern hemisphere, these are strong energies anyway. It's like the winter period, the tougher times come through here. It's not about difficulty though. I want to be really clear. It's not about difficulty and it's not about hardship. Shaping does not have to be experienced as a difficult thing. Challenge does not have to be experienced as a difficult thing. It can be an exciting thing. So the second date can get a bad rap at times, and it's not that at all. It can offer beautiful partnerships, beautiful opportunities for expansion of yourself and to work in partnership with the energies of the world around you. But it is about shaping and challenging and evolving, you know? It's finding our edges and moving beyond them is what comes through here. And so we've got that with almost all of the planets, other than the moon in Urus, the full moon in Urus, and Thor's chariot that's in Manaz all the way up until the end of the month, which I'll cover just in a moment. So Sunna's chariot goes from Perthro into Algis, sort of quite mystical runes, still quiet intention setting energy. Odin's chariot moves from Yera, sort of rune of manifestation and slow cycles, into Perthro. And, we're all glad that retrograde period is declining now. So he is more, there's sort of more positive, forward moving energy with Yera through to Perthro. And again, you're moving from what are the intentions that you might have set during that Yera period to how do I get them, how do I bring them through? And the support again comes very clearly, and very much spirit support as well. What do I need in terms of my spirit led support? Comes through with Odin's chariot. Frigg is moving from Issa, the rune of stillness, winter, through into Iowa. So she's going to journey through Yara. So it's still a great time for intention setting and manifestation as she moves through Yara. And then again, she's calling on that drawing on support with Iwaz that comes through. Tia's chariot is already in Iwaz. So you could see how they're clustering. They make these some runes very, very strong and very powerful and potent to work with through this period of time. So Tia's chariot is moving from Iwaz into Perthro this month. So you can really feel that staff energy of support and the Perthro energy of the well of weird and fate and surrendering the fate. And it's almost saying the more that you are able to surrender to the divine in your life, to the fate in your life, to the spirit led in your life, and the more you're able to know that through doing that, more support will be available and that you are ready to receive it. This comes through with all of these runes. Now I mentioned Thor's chariot. So Thor is in Manaz, and he's been very slow moving through 2023. He was incredibly slow moving. His retrograde periods kept us in this sort of Largus Manaz energy between the sovereign and the waters of surrender and death and rebirth for a long period through the course of 2023, and that will continue for a period through 2024. He's going to move back into Largus on the 6th of February. So he got into Largus and then he went retrograde. He went all the way back into Manaz, and then he's just coming back into Largus at the moment. And then we'll see we'll move out of that. And it really felt like this sense of I know what I need to do, and yet somehow I can't quite do it, or the message isn't quite clear, or I thought that was it and now I've changed and I've shed one layer and I've shed another layer and I've shed another layer. The sovereign self releasing and releasing and letting go and being challenged to let another thing go and another thing go. That's the energy that he's been holding for us. And that will continue for a little while longer. Then we're going to go back into Largus, and there will be some cleansing and some releasing, but we won't be moving back into Manaz again. So it will be like that core self that we've been working on finding. We'll have found its strength by this point. And the other planetary move I want to mention is that Urd's chariot, so Uranus Urd's chariot, is going to move out of retrograde, again towards the end of the month. And Urd's chariot, it sort of represents all of the Nornir, the fates, sort of fates of destiny. And when she was in retrograde, it can be this sense of similar to Thor's chariot in a way, sort of amplified, let's be honest, amplified this energy of slight like frustration that I know what needs to be done, and yet every time I try and do it, something gets in the way, and stops it from happening. Desire to change that's thwarted has come through. But when Urd's chariot goes out of retrograde, then the hands of fate are free again to guide us, to speak to us. So, and I think it's worth bearing in mind that, it can feel horrible, when you're just like, oh God, I feel like I'm flailing about. But I truly believe, and the Nornir assure me that it is true, that a flailing about period is important in the class. I'm sure that I'll be more on board with that once the flailing about period is over. I'm going to be honest on that one. But yeah, it is coming to an end. No, So soldier on, people, soldier on. Sorry, I have to say. And all of the meditations that I offer through Sunna Starwheel are designed to help you to peel away those layers of the stuff that's in the way and to hold on to your core, your center, to draw more and more strongly on the wisdom of the runes and of the guidance of the Northern tradition to help you to bring forward that heroic self, even through and maybe because of those times of challenge and shaping. So, if you don't already have your Sunna Starwheel journal, I would highly recommend getting it. We will post about how you can get the hard copy, the standalone hard copy. If you're like, yes, actually, I'd like to try the standalone hard copy. There is then a little gift so that you can get a small discount off your subscription if you decide to go ahead and buy the journal and have a look at that and then go ahead and do the subscription. Or you can say, actually, no, my time is now. Go with the subscription, get your year of meditations, get your first journal as a gift, and all of your subsequent journals are discounted as well. When you're a subscriber, you then get your journals at the discount. So we will tell you more about that. But I'm very excited about this. It's been something that I've wanted to do for years. So yes, going ahead. What we're going to be doing in Magic in Mind before I do the stay and play piece, when we are, I'll look at the runes that you're sharing, runes for your month ahead. So now is the time to post a rune. If you'd like a mini reading, bear with me. I appear to have lost my pen that I was going to write them down with. See if I can find one. So now is the time in the chat box to share your readings. For those of you who are here live would like to do the stay and play session with me, what we're going to be doing in the subsequent Magic in Mind sessions for the rest of the lunar cycle is slightly different to what you're used to in Magic in Mind. So this session is your new intention setting, planetary oracles, and your stay and play session for your rune of the month. Next week, we are going to be looking at working with Freya, work with her different aspects, how we can work with her, how we can bring the magic of the magic of the magician, the magical self, the magician, how we can enhance that and support that, and how Freya can guide us in that. So it'll be a more training based session. The following session, we're going to be looking at the magician in its purer form, and I'm going to be sharing with you a tool that I've been using for many years now as a coach, that I have found works incredibly well for sensitive beings, for magical beings, and is very, very pertinent both to Freya and to the magician. I'm sharing a little bit about why we need that magician so much at this time as well. And then our final session, when we are at the end of this lunar cycle, will be a celebration and release session. So it will be a much more sort of embodiment meditation session. So we're shifting it up, alchemizing it differently from now on in for the rest of this year with Magic in Mind. So so well done for those of you who have come and you're sharing your runes. Let me see. So Esther, hi Esther. Doris has reversed for the month, and then Trish has Manas. Jason has Gibo. Candice has Suello. Okay, so keep them coming as I'm looking. The comments are being a bit funny, so I can only see the last few comments. It's just the way that Facebook is presenting it to me, which is slightly annoying, to be honest. But yeah, just share your runes and we'll have a look at them. So let's look at you, because obviously I had the Thurisaz rune, but you had yours reversed. And well, I love that you showed your other ones as well. It's always interesting when you're looking at these runes, and Esther hasn't shared that with me as to what way up the Thurisaz rune is, but I'll do a little demo for you because I think it can be helpful. Sort of see how they're different, because people will often, if you get a rune book, it will often talk about the Merc stave or the Bright stave or the reversed side, or it's well aspected, it's ill aspected. The thing about the runes is that we can read them in multiple directions, and if you're working with more than one rune, they will point to each other, they'll speak to each other, so they form a conversation, sort of a harmony of energy when they come together. So with Thurisaz, when it's pointing this way, it's sort of said to be well aspected. But it could also be facing the other way around, and apologies if my screen is showing you the wrong way around. So it can be almost in the other direction, in which case people can see this as being a positive, forward, assertive energy, let's say. I mean, an assertive energy. Some people still see it as being an aggressive energy, and it can bring an aggression, but I tend to see it as that sort of assertive energy. Whereas if it's pointed this way, it can be more aggressive or more defensive as well. So you can play with the Thurisaz rune, turning it around and saying, okay, when does it feel like it's in that space where I'm feeling in that place of assertiveness? For me, sometimes almost like when it like is like a mountain on the top there, we can feel that assertion energy as well, like the assertion of the mountain. No one's going to mess with a mountain, are they? But it can also be a bit you might struggle a little bit with the movement there. So you might not be able to actually use your Thoris energy. So you'd be looking for other runes around it to help with that movement and momentum. Whereas if it's this way around, you're able to draw it out. So you could actually say with this rune here, when it's in its well aspected, this is the way we're used to seeing it. It could be that you can draw on what you need in the moment. So for you, Esther, I'm feeling that it might be about saying, which energy do I get stuck in? So when I'm here, I can call on it for assertion, I can call on it for aggression, and I can call on it for defense. And I can use it for all three in the moment, depending on what I need. Whereas when it's in its one of its less well aspected positions, we can get stuck. So this can be almost like repression, repressing anger, putting it into the body rather than letting it out. This can be sending it in the wrong direction or using almost becoming aggressive, not because of what's happening in the moment, because of something that happened in the past. And this one can be almost like I'm stuck in my response. I can't, not do the right, the right one for me. Okay, so for you, Esther, it might be just about saying, okay, how can I maybe move the rune so that I'm able to choose, be more selective with which aspect of Thurisaz I need in the moment, so that you can move it into that well aspected shape. Lisa says doing new moon reading later, but today you've got Dargaz out followed by Isa. Let's do Dargaz for you then, Lisa, and that's absolutely fine. So you've got plenty of time to do your lunar cycle readings, and I'm more than happy on this day and play to do just a single rune reading on what feels right for you. Now, Trish, let's feel into Manaz, because Manaz, we had that with Thor's chariot, didn't we? He's still in Manaz at the moment. So I'm feeling this sort of sovereignty energy coming through for you. And it's funny, when I feel it, right, what I'm seeing with your Manaz energy. I'm feeling Manaz, but instead of feeling like I'm rooted within it, I almost feel like there's a painting and there's lots of other people in the painting, and then there's you with your Manaz energy. Here I am in my Manaz energy. But it's almost like you're seeing your sovereignty in relation to everybody else in the picture. There's a bit of comparisonitis going on, rather than saying, actually, my sovereign energy has nothing to do with anybody else whatsoever. When I am fully present in my sovereign energy, I am centered and grounded in myself. It doesn't mean there is no stereotypical sovereign energy. There is no blustering king or dominant, aggressive queen, or we can make judgments, can't we, about people who are in power. And then we can feel as if, oh, is the world going to see me that way? If I stand in my power, if I'm more loud, more visible, more vulnerable because I share more of myself, more people might judge me, and they might see me in the way that I know other people judge them in the world. And that can be very, very stifling for our sovereign self. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't many people in this space who are going to go out in the world, who might already be out in the world being loud and being aggressive and being wild and being visible and seen and all of those things. But those things don't equate with sovereignty. They may be part of a particular person's sovereignty. So for me, this Manaz is almost about separating out. There's me in my sovereignty. There's the way that I choose to express that in the world, which is about I choose. And then there is the inevitable judgments that everyone makes about everybody else all of the time, which can feel, let's be honest, they still have nothing to do with your sovereignty over here. You know? And so that's what's calling to me, Trish, through you. It's that sense of removing yourself from the painting and feeling the sovereignty in your body, rather than in relation to what other people might think about it. So I hope it's helpful to you there. Suki saying that sleet is starting to fall for you, Suki. Ugh. It's a very wintry thing, isn't it? Let's embrace it. Embrace it. Jason, you've got the Gibo rune. Let's see if I can find my Gibo rune. My lovely cards. My cards will be sad, because I took my rune from my um little rune bag. But normally on Magic in Mind, I use my cards and in their little orange bag. I don't know why, but they want to have an orange bag. They have an orange bag. They used to have a purple bag, and then they said, no, this is no good. We need orange. So I gave them orange instead. So you've got your Gibo rune, and you showed that, didn't you, on Instagram that you had Gibo as well. No, it's a really lovely rune. It's interesting. If you look at the Manaz rune, you'll notice that there is a Gibo rune inside the Manaz rune. Gibo comes earlier in the Elder Food, like it comes towards the beginning of the Elder Food. It doesn't make it any better or worse than Manaz, but it's in some ways a freer energy. Once we're into the Manaz rune, we're sort of consolidated in ourself at that point. So Gibo can sometimes be an invitation back into those underlying motivations. Why do I want to do this? Why do I want to be with this person? Why do I want to have this career? Those sorts of things. Manaz expresses those, says, this is what I'm doing out in the world. But when we get those earlier runes, it can be about looking at the underlying energies, the currents of energy that are playing through our lives, the individual threads. There's the Manaz rune. So we've got that Manaz rune there. Here's the Gibo rune, was waiting behind. So the Gibo rune is like the little crossbar in the middle of the Manaz rune. And the Gibo rune, when I think about that, I always think about it as being forming the foundations upon which sovereignty is built. Because Gibo is the promise, it's the oath, it's the gift, it's the place where we form our values, our sense of who am I, what will I bring to the world, what will I not tolerate, when will I step forward, when will when will I make myself visible and loud and wild, and when will I step back into a place of quiet and solitude? Gibo helps us to form all of those things because it creates promises, and I think it's worth remembering with the Gibo rune that the Gibo rune promises that it offers it doesn't just relate to promises that you make out loud and verbalize to people, or promises that are made in contract. It's also promises that are made from self to self. And those can sometimes be the most powerful, and also the ones that we need to disentangle. The can be more challenging for us than promises that we have either made to other people or that they have made to us, that we extract ourselves from. To extract yourself from a promise that you made to yourself long ago. Some people refer to that as, releasing a limiting belief. It's like when you have an experience in the past, particularly in your childhood, that was not pleasant, then you make a promise to yourself, I'm never going to experience that again. Nope. And I'm going to avoid every single thing that takes me anywhere near to having that experience again. Now, the challenge can be that as adults, we aren't as vulnerable as we are when we are children, and we might be using all of this energy to keep that promise to our child self for something that actually isn't relevant anymore, because maybe we don't live with the people who caused that problem at the time, or we're not going to school with people who caused that problem at the time. We get to choose who we hang out with, and therefore the adult self wants to have a bit more freedom at that point, and therefore we go back and we look at those promises again, and they stand us back into sovereignty. So I know that, Jason, you've been thinking about being the gift. What does that mean to be the gift? And sometimes that does mean, what do I need to release myself from? What do I need to let myself go of? Let myself go of? Let go of, in order to step into my next unfolding of my sovereignty. So a little bit of a play with that. So I would suggest, Candice, you have got the Suelo rune, the rune of the sun, of Sunna's chariot, forging across the sky, calling us into our soul purpose. I can feel some mischief there, Candice. What have you been doing? What are you planning, Candice? There we go with the Suelo rune. There is a fun and a play about the Suelo rune. It's um it's that sense in which if you think about Sunna or Sol on her chariot, speeding across the sky, she's incredibly dedicated to her purpose. You know, incredibly dedicated to her purpose. And a lot of us have that in the world, don't we? We have this sense of, I want to do something meaningful with my life. I want to make a contribution. I want to be valued. I want to be valuable. All of those things. And we can have a very strong drive. Or we can have a drive that says, I must be seen as successful out in the world. No, that's a very strong drive. And those things can come with Suelo. They can absolutely come with it. What Suelo does is it reminds us to balance that with play and desire. Is this fulfilling my every desire? And if not, how can I slightly change course? It doesn't necessarily mean I hate my job, I'm going to give it up right now, I'm going to hand in my notice today. It can mean, however, the role that I'm in right now is not helping me to fulfill the purpose that I feel in my heart. What can I do? What steps can I take to change course, to course correct ever so slightly? And I remember one of my first coaching clients, when I was still working to qualify. I'm working with her. She started out at the beginning of our sessions. She said, I'm leaving my job. I hate it. We're going to be working on changing this. We're going to look for new stuff. We're going to write CVs and all of those things. And I said, okay, we can do that. And we did do that. But at the same time, I said, well, why don't we look at making the job that you're currently in more comfortable for you, more supportive for you while we're doing that? You know? So we looked at what would she like to be doing in the role, what was she really good at, and all of those things. We designed what her day would look like, all of that. And then we prepared her pitch to her boss. Say, right, this is how I will contribute more by you letting me do X, Y, Z. And 4 weeks in, so 4 weeks, 4 sessions in, let's say, I think they're over 2 weeks. She's like, I love my job. It's amazing. Oh, it fulfills everything that I need right now. You know, this is the this is the Sewello rune in action. It doesn't always mean make a big change. I mean, Darga sometimes does, doesn't it? But Suelo is about like flowing. It's about sort of flowing, moving, turning the wheel. So there's some like micro habits can come through. What micro habits can I do to like just change my day slightly? What are the conversations that I might need to have to course correct a little bit? Suelo is the navigator rune. So have a little bit of play with that one. Suzanne, you have got the actually. I'm going to do Lisa's Dargaz rune because we've just done Suelo, and then we'll come to you, Suzanne. Here we go, the Dargaz rune. So I said with the Sewella rune, there's this sort of flow and this movement and this rolling with the tides. Dargaz is a bit more like I was over here and then I moved through a gateway, a doorway, and I came out the other side and I'm not the same person as I was yesterday. It's that, yesterday, this job, relationship, state of my health, um, where I live, all of those things was who I was. Today, it is not. Right? And that can be a little bit disorientating for us sometimes, and it could also be disorientating for the people around us. And I think that's what I'm going to focus on with the Dargaz rune today, because the Dargaz rune is beautiful. It's an incredibly powerful, transformative rune. It brings us into a sense of freedom. I work with people quite a lot. We do the drawing the Dargaz rune and then walking through it to sort of release whatever's holding us back. It's great for that stuff. It does bring about, quite very profound, sudden, transformatory change. But I think what the Dargaz rune wanted to say today is actually that recognition that, this comes up a lot when I do birth runes reports with people and they have dominant Dargaz energy in their birth runes reports, because it can be very frustrating when you've walked through the door but everyone else is on the other side and they haven't seen what you've seen and they don't know what you know. And so for me, if you've got the Dargaz rune coming through, it's almost that recognition that a change has occurred, and that when a change has occurred inside, you might then need to think to yourself, what do I need to do to support other people in taking this journey with me, in seeing what I see, in understanding that I'm not the same person as I was yesterday. What conversations do I need to have? What patience do I need to offer in order to recognize that they haven't had that same Dargaz experience? Then the Dargaz is a little bit of balancing. It's interesting, isn't it? You notice that the Giba rune is in there again. almost like this one is almost like when we have an initiatory experience, we can sometimes feel like, wow, I don't know how that happened. It's amazing. But I mean, sometimes the universe does, it throws a curveball at us and something happens and we weren't expecting it at all. But a lot of the time, it's actually the culmination of a long journey that you've taken, and all of the promises that you've kept or promises that you've released and let go of, all of the gifts that you have given and all of the gifts that you've received and allowed yourself to receive are the ones that allow that doorway to suddenly open and you step through it. So I love that the Gibo rune appears inside other runes quite frequently. And our final two, I think. I haven't seen any others being shared. Please do let me know if I've missed anybody, but it looks as if we're coming to the end with Suzanne and Suki. So Suzanne, you've got your Ewaz rune. So it's interesting that we have we had our Gibo rune and our Dargaz rune. We've looked at standing and we've looked at change, quick change. And then we've got Ewaz and Rado as the last two runes. So Ewaz for Suzanne and Rado for Suki. And both of them are traveling runes, whereas Suzanne's rune is a lovely little partner rune because it talks about our partnership with others. And it's whispering to me at this moment, which I know you know, Suzanne, it's I think it's just important to be said that sometimes before we can find the partnerships with people around us, we can reach out for our partnerships, our spirit partnerships that we have with the fetch or the kin fetch or our guiding spirits or our Valkyrie or our Nornir or our Disir or the guiding spirits who are around us or patron deities if you work with. Obviously, we're working with Freya this month. So it's almost like about being able to step into a deeper partnership with spirit that can facilitate the connection that we need, particularly if you've had a Dargaz experience, you've had an initiatory experience, and you've either merged as someone that was not the same as I was before. Sometimes some spirit guides will leave us at that period of time, and we'll have to connect with a new set of spirit guides. We'll have one or two who will come forward. We might find a different way of working. I know, Suzanne, actually, you've mentioned, haven't you, that you've got some different ways of working coming through this year. So manifesting that difference in the way that we work with our spirit guides and in our rituals and in our practices can be one of the first steps that we take to embed the change that we can feel inside that Dargaz brings, that sort of sudden life change. So say, okay, what do I need to do differently in terms of in the context of my spirit life and my magical life to resonate more fully with this new way of being? And then that will in turn draw in the new human partners that we need, because then we become a stronger vibration of the new self that we're standing in. It's a little bit like I pass through the gateway and I can feel it. Oh, I changed. But then you need to start slowly shifting all of the energies around you to align more fully with you. And when you do that, you become like a magnet then for the people, the partners, the collaborators who want to work with you through that time. So there's an alignment piece coming through here for me, Suzanne, with you, with your Ewaz rune there, around slowly reweaving some partnerships to reflect like who you are at this current time. And then finally, Suki, we have got the Rado runes, the journey rune. And I can really feel the sense of rhythm coming through. So we've got the Rado, it's the rider, it's the rhythm, it's often that sort of taking of action. Yeah, right, informed, graceful action. There is a sense of timeliness here and of recognizing that as long as you maintain rhythm, then momentum will occur, those shifts will occur. Well, it's a little bit like when people talk about how do you eat an elephant, and it's like one bite at a time. And that's essentially what the Rado rune is saying here. We had a little bit, Candice, I had it with you, didn't I, with the Suelo rune, which you just said sounds like I'm going to have an interesting day, shenanigans style comments. So Rado is whereas Suelo might be, well, how do I move this? How do I move that? How do I have this conversation do that? Rado is like, what action can I take today? And what action can I take today? And there is there is a sense of an order that might need to be honored. So I'm trying to think of a good example for you to make this more tangible. Let's say, you want to build a house, so you're not going to be able to build a house in a day. That's not going to happen. But you can say, okay, I'm going to lay the foundations today, and then I'm going to be sort of doing the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the little poles, supporting poles. They're all going to come in. So there is a, like biting off one step at a time, trusting that the house will come, to where it needs to be. I didn't even put in the plans there, did I? That's like obviously the first step is like find some plans. So there is an order that things need to happen in. And there's a sense of me in which I think the radio room wanted to bring that through, because there's a sense in which it might be that in your mind, we'll keep with the house analogy. You can see these beautiful um, leaded windows, it's sort of like round, curved arches, and you're really impatient for that. That's when you know you will connect with the spirit of the house. And it's the spirit of the house that's calling you to create this project in the first place. So you want those windows, you really, really want them. And it's recognizing that those things will create the momentum. You can keep moving towards them, but there is a patience towards achieving them. And the other piece within that, and again, we're going to stick with the house analogy, is that when we have a desire, a strong desire, there are going to be things that we need to do that don't fill us with joy, in order to get to that desire. And then there are going to be some things that we need to do in order to complete the undertaking or the project, to actually complete, which might come after the desire piece has been fulfilled. So the analogy here would be, if you stop at the windows, you're going to have a house with no roof. It might be that the roof does not fill you with joy, but it's still needed. So again, it's about saying, okay, how do I maintain rhythm? How do I maintain momentum as I'm moving through? So for you, I would be looking at it and going, okay, what might the analogy of the house refer to? What are the big projects or the desires that are coming through for me right now? And how do I break them down and apply some radio energy to them so that I can follow this road that my soul has presented to me, and to what I want to achieve? Let me have a little look. Yes, it looks like everybody's fine. We don't have any other runes. I don't think so. If you come along and you watch the recording, absolutely, you can share the rune that you're working with at the moment. Come and share in the heart space. We always love to hear what your rune is. You haven't missed your chance. If you're going to be buying the Sunna Starwheel journal or doing your subscription, you're already got your subscription and you're waiting for your journal, so you don't have to draw a rune if you want to do it for the lunar cycle. You can wait until the new moon or even a little bit afterwards if you want to. There's no prescribed way of doing this. It's just, for me, obviously, and for the purposes of magic in mind, we choose a milestone moment, and our milestone is the new moon. It's this new moon week. So thank you so much to all of you who have joined me live, and thank you for coming to the stay and play session. It has been lovely to see you, and that's the way that we're going to do it from now on. It might be that if a particular rune speaks in the following 3 weeks of sessions, that I'll talk about it and we'll do a little mini oracle on it. We won't be doing the stay and play in the same ways, because we're going to be doing other practical activities to widen the possibilities of what we can do together through Magic in Mind. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. It's been an absolute delight, and I will see you all very soon. Take care, everyone. Bear with me while I find out where the stop button is. New computer.